Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the 20 Percenters, where we focus on what matters: health, wealth, relationships, and time. And I'm sitting here in the Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Arts with Oscar de la Salas, so I don't mess this up, the design manager and client relationship leader for Gensler.
That's correct.
Yeah. How are you, man?
Very good. Thank you
Good.
for having me.
Absolutely.
This was like long overdue.
Much overdue. We crossed paths via Tammy.
Yes.
But we've actually crossed paths prior to that at some of my wife's events. And we sat down a couple of months ago. It's been a couple of months now.
Yeah, it's been it's
too
been a couple
long.
of months, too long.
And you shared with me your journey, and I just recently saw that you were featured on the cover of Paradise Valley Lifestyle. Shout out to Tammy and her crew. Number one, your style selection is unlike anything I've ever seen. You've got swag, brother.
Oh, I love that word. I want to use it in the boardroom. What's up? People have swag. Oh my gosh.
But what was interesting about this feature and what you shared with me in the telling of your journey is how you made your career in architectural design, but not just to me, but to a lot of people, you are introduced as a man of fashion.
Yeah.
Right. And as they point out in Paradise Valley, those two silos just intersect constantly for you. You've designed, you've been featured, you've done the red carpet for the Grammys, you've done outfits for Miss America contenders. And then you've got your name on some of these buildings here in Old Town Scottsdale. I mean, like it's rare, because I wouldn't anyway put architectural design and fashion in the same body. Right? Those two entities just don't readily cross paths in my mind. So how did that come to be?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is just great to be here. I am beyond ecstatic to be in front of a figure like you. 'Cause that's like, let's say it the way it is. I am facing with someone who has a mission.
I appreciate it.
And I feel that we relate at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned, the world of design and the world of fashion, the world of architectural design and the world of fashion, they intertwine to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, my journey through life is being around the world of design, and by choice, because I was fortunate enough to have an environment that helped me to create that world, to somehow tailor that world around me. Taylor, that was
there you go.
Got it. Anyways, so then that's the reason. One of the reasons why I became who I became, or I am who I am. Also, like another element that adds to all that is that I believe in myself. I just didn't have that when I was growing up. Yeah, and I just came to be myself as an older man, and I realized that I was very particular when it comes to the sense of fashion. I had something extra that the rest of the people don't have. Right. And I illustrated myself. I helped myself by reading, by exercising also some of the things that you just mentioned. Like I just went and designed gowns and stuff like that because it was part of my environment growing up. Yeah. And the world of architecture is part of my passion for design as well. And that comprises many levels. When you touch the world of design, you have to touch budget, schedule, and style. So those three elements are the typical three elements that you see when you first step into the world of design, and it's applicable to anything within the world of design. Call it design, fashion design, architectural design, call it graphic design. Whatever you want, there's those three elements. There's always budget, schedule, and within the world of design, style.
Okay. So one of the things that sticks out to me about your your journey, your story is how you made your way over from Spain.
Yeah,
right?
I was in Spain the last time that I was here.
For grad school.
Yeah.
Right. And you latched on to a mentor.
Yeah.
And that's what pretty much solidified your place here in the Valley. Mm-hmm. Right. Can you walk us through that process?
Yeah. We happened to have drinks that night, and then we went through the whole Oscar landing in America.
Yeah.
Put it that way. I'm originally from Colombia. I graduated as an architect in Colombia. And at that time, just recently graduated, they were building the American Embassy in Bogota.
Okay.
And as a young architect, I was looking for a job and an internship. And a good friend of mine, a civil engineer, and another friend from the American Embassy told me they need an architect. And by the way, they need an architect who's specialized in interiors. And I said, well, I'm not specialized yet, but I can just jump in.
I can become specialized.
I become specialized. There's a check.
Right.
So then I accepted the challenge, and then I started working for Dillingham Construction, a construction company, a multinational construction company. This is just fresh out of school. You can't imagine at the time, no emails, everything was fax. It was the American Embassy during the 80s in Colombia. You know what happened at that time in terms of political stability in the country was difficult.
Sure.
But I said, I'm just going to do it. I took a chance, and I worked with them for 4 years. And with them, I was able to coordinate and build the American Embassy in Bogota, Colombia, the one in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Lima, Peru, and Singapore.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had access to construction documents. They were a very high security.
Yeah.
This is just fresh out of school.
Sure.
So who was my boss at the time had a house here in Scottsdale, lived here in Scottsdale. So project come to an end, and then he said, if you ever want to come to the States and try to open your path to a new country, come and stay in my house. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'll come by. He showed me pictures of Scottsdale. Yeah. It was all saguaro, cacti, and I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful, the wild, wild west. I put that aside, and then I just decided to, there was an opportunity for a master's degree in interior architecture by the University of Salamanca outside Madrid in Spain.
Sure.
So I took that chance. I was able to get in out of 3,000 submissions. Only 100, I think it was 100 got selected. Yeah. And my class was about 35 people.
Wow.
So that was a big selection. I just sent my application, and it was application after application. And I said, this is the opportunity. I talked to my dad, talked to my family. It's like, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
So I picked up my stuff and left.
Okay.
And I moved to Salamanca. I was there for a year. And then within that year, that I had to finish my thesis project, and but I needed internships, so I accepted one in Italy. Okay. And then I worked for Casina, a furniture company, and I lived in some other countries. Yeah, I lived in Paris. I lived in Milan, Paris, London for just short period of time. Yeah, but that's when everything started to intertwine with the world of fashion. Truly intertwine. As an architect and as a designer, you happen to hang out with people within the same abilities, or curiosities. So I met a kid that at the time was starting a fashion agency, model agency. Yep. And then he said, we need someone to design our sets. Okay. You are an architect. You understand how to put things together, Yeah. And then he said, do you want to make some extra cash? Being a student at the time, cash is good. Right. So I said, okay. Then he said, this Sunday we'll be working. Why don't you come and help us to build this set for a fashion shoot? And then, so I went, and I got hired, and every single weekend I was helping to put all this together. Sure. Mind me, I had modeled years prior when I was young. And then in one of these shoots, they throw me in. The model didn't show up, and I just was part of the shoot, and it was just everything was like just a collaboration of people who love design. So I left after all this internship ended and I just needed to go back home. I called my friend here.
Okay.
And then I said, remember that you asked me
Yeah.
if I wanted to come to America? I said, this is the time. I need to write my thesis project about Taliesin West, about Frank Lloyd Wright. And you live in Phoenix, which is close to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Can I come to your house, stay a few days, weeks, and write my thesis? And then he said, come over.
Yeah.
So I didn't know much about Scottsdale or Arizona. I just had few books.
Yep.
The books, Frank Lloyd Wright books, everything looked beautiful. It was modernism. I'm a passionate about architecture, modern architecture, modern world. And then I just took my flight, 4 bags, 2 my books, 2 my clothes, and I said, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
Like in the movies.
Sure.
And I came to Phoenix, Arizona. August 18, 1998. I just stopped at Philly and then I came here. When the door of the plane opened, I was seated on the first row.
Yeah.
And it was about like 8 p.m. That blow dryer came to my face. And I said, holy smokes. I left Madrid and it was like, what, 90? It was a hot summer in Madrid. It was not 90, it was perhaps 80 something.
Sure.
But Madrid cools down at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, my God, this is 90 degrees. It was so hot. So anyway, that was my venture to come to America.
Yeah.
I came here to write my thesis about to Frank Lloyd Wright. And I realized that Taliesin West was here.
Okay. And the rest is history.
The rest is history. I can tell you, you know all what happened afterwards, but that the rest is just what it comes to be, Oscar.
Well, you know, what is super interesting about the whole thing is your ability to not only recognize opportunity, but also recognize flow. You know, that's something that we talked about a couple of months ago in terms of surrounding yourself with people that operate on that higher frequency and putting yourself in the presence of people that can mentor you and as a byproduct of that mentorship, create opportunity. And it just sounds like your entire adult existence is just those circumstances in repetition over and over and over again. Where does that come from for you? Like the ability to recognize those things?
There is a level of intellectuality that you recognize in some people. And there is a level of, and I don't know how to explain it. It would be perhaps someone who has a higher level of knowledge of what it comes to the energy that you're able to get from people and produce within yourself. And that's typical. I'm sure all of you watching at home or watching in your phones or whatever you are right now will agree that when you walk into a room and when you meet someone, you're like, oh my God, that person is so nice. That person captivated me. I felt something. I just want to call the person again. It doesn't matter. It's not a sexual connotation or being enamored about someone is in a higher level. And I think it's how do you vibrate?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then that goes also with your sense of being an intellectual. I've been lucky enough to be surrounded my life with intellectual people. And like you said, you recognize that. You vibrate at a higher level.
Yeah.
Whatever level that you think you want to be, you want to grow along with that person or be at that level. And I always have looked up to those that are in higher places or they have proven being in higher places than me.
Yeah.
That they inspire me. They are people that I feel some sort of pride to be around or be proud to be part of them or being in their presence.
Yeah.
Last night happened with Gabby Giffords. I happened to go to Benet Hilton Spiegel. Hi, Benet. I hope you're watching. She put together this fundraiser for Mark Kelly, astronaut Mark Kelly, Captain Mark Kelly. Yeah. And I haven't seen Gabby for a long time. And, you know, she had these very hard situations she had to go through. And she lost a lot of cognitive abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have admired her.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we run into each other after of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And to my surprise, I just started to, because there was a line of people and I just wanted to come closer to her, to just like, to them,
Mm-hmm.
actually, and then shake hands and then tell them thank you him for running and thank
Yeah.
you her for being there. And then I just said, Gabby, you may not remember me. I am, and she said, architect. And then I'm like, yeah, that's me. Remember, we met Tucson. And I was just like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm Oscar. We both narrated the same name at the same time, Oscar. It was incredible. It's someone that it was at that high level at some point, happened to have an issue, a situation that she had to go through life, but she remembered me.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. I told you, I came here being just myself.
Yeah.
I don't have family here.
Mm-hmm.
I just had one person.
Yep.
And 20 years later, 20-something years later, I find myself in front of those decision makers.
Yeah.
And I'm part of the decision making within my own environment. And I find that humbling.
Sure.
To be honest with you, humbling.
You know, when you look at the ways of the universe, if you will, you know, a lot of people, whatever your higher power is, you know, they just say, let go, let God, have faith, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Enter, you know, spiritual cliche here. And, you know, the truth of the matter is when you're manifesting the things that you want, the things that you deserve, you know, the universe operates in reciprocity, right? And what I mean by that is you have to put the first foot forward, you know, to sit back and just pray and wait. That doesn't stimulate anything to happen. It's an it's an energy thing,
it's an
right?
energy thing.
Yeah, you have to put that energy out there, and then the how, the process will manifest along the way. You know, it's very much the build the parachute on the way down type of thing. And it doesn't sound like in your experience as you tell your tale, you spend a whole lot of time worrying about the process of things. It's the keeping your eye on the prize and just, you know, just taking it literally one step at a time, right? And that reverse engineering of things just kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah, you mentioned something very clear. I mean, I would say not clear. I think it's just more very wise that I would repeat to a lot of people is the recognition of energy and the recognition of flow. So you could be like, okay, things are going to happen, fine, but you have to take the first step forward. You have to put that energy up front. I mean, you go through it with your clients. You have the first thing you have to do is walk through that door if you want to work out. If you feel this is not your day, you make the decision of closing the door, going home and rest, which you need, or getting in and just put your time and take that first step forward. It's like, okay, I'm tired or whatever, but this is the place where I'm going to bring all that energy to myself.
Yes, absolutely. So what is it in your daily practice that allows you to operate on such a at such a high frequency? Like, I mean, because it's
Colombian coffee.
I mean, because you've sustained this pattern. Right now, all the things that we talk about in terms of energy, frequency, the universe, like it's lifestyle, it's habit for you, it's subconscious. So what do you do on a daily basis to cultivate that frequency?
So 2 things. You mentioned 2 things: the frequency, and then you mentioned the lifestyle, or how do I work around that. So the high frequency, that's me since I was a kid. I have no answer to that. My mom used to tell me that, my mom tells me over and over again that she used to go to visit friends, and then there was little Oscar jumping from piece of furniture to piece of furniture, hanging from doors, doing all sorts of things. So that's how I work.
That just means the future is bright for my son.
Are you going through the same thing?
There's hope.
Oh my God. My mom didn't want to go to her friend's house because there was little Oscar jumping like a jumping bean. I was just like non-stop, so full of energy. But like that is my high energy, and I vibrate at that level. But then there's also other days that I just have to disconnect and get away.
Sure.
My husband knows that. We spent this weekend at a resort, and I did nothing other than read and sleep. I slept every single hour on the hour that I was able to. And we had massage and all sorts of therapeutic things that to nurture your body.
Right. Yeah.
Work out, massage, eat well, sleep, disconnect. But I have to do it every now and then. How do I describe my energy? I have no idea. If I tell you that a lot of people tell me, my God, we see you everywhere. Oscar, you are everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, everywhere where? I am where I need to be.
Yeah.
How about you? I am fine. How about you?
Right. Yeah.
Where do you need to be? Where do you think you can place yourself that you can make a difference, that you can conquer what you want, or that you can give back to community that allow you to become you?
Yeah.
Or to open doors to become you.
Yeah.
I have a passion for my work. I love what I do, and I have a passion for my community. And I keep myself, I nurture my curiosity. I read a lot. I'm very curious about things, and I am the one who reads something on a magazine and goes Google and find information and keeps digging until I'm satisfied and I find the answers. Imagine coming to a country that you know very little of, and you have to learn how to live here. Remember that scene on E.T. that he sits in front of the TV and then passes channel and cross channels. He's learning about America. That was me when I first got here.
Okay.
Because I needed to know I needed to know everything. I needed to know about American culture, how to become American. There's one thing about migrating to a country. When you really want to place yourself in a country, you need to become part of the country and understand the community. That's what I did, and that has been my mission throughout my citizenship process. And now I'm giving back to the community that I can always tell you. It's like the reason my other passion is to give back to the community that opened doors to me.
Yeah. No, so the process, it all comes back to process, right? You've ingrained yourself in such an influential community, like you said, the decision makers and whatnot, and you sit on a handful of really impactful boards, right? So via your architectural and fashion careers, what impact are you looking to facilitate?
Oh, that's a very broad question. Because yes, I am fortunate enough to translate my passion for my community into work in the community. So some people, and this is part of a book that I read years ago about your impact in how small your impact could be or how big your impact could be. Not that I want to be impactful to be impactful. I just wanted, like I mentioned, just to give back to my community. Now, like you said, I see it of a number of boards, and there's two lines of work. One is the fashion, one is the design, that people know about me. There's the underground Oscar that is trying somehow to help to make the place where he had to land and live to be the place that I envision
Yes.
So we all have these visions of the future. I happen to have a very particular vision of what this town could be. We have incredible talent, incredible talents in this town when it comes to every single level. We have artists, CEOs, writers, accountants, philosophers. I mean, I can go on. So I've been fortunate enough to create a path where I can sit in the table with them and hear what they have to say, and myself put my input of what this place could be or what we could do about it. So there are two lines of work that I decided to put my time and effort with. One is the world of arts, and the other one is mentorship and youth.
Okay.
So those are the two lines that I decided that I want to move forward with at a very fast pace or create a bigger impact. But that doesn't disconnect myself to the other realities that we have in our community. And that is through my work as well. My work allows me to go a step further and allows me to create a bigger footprint of what I do. We have an incredible problem currently in the valley, and it's increasing as we grow as a city, and that's homelessness. We have, and then with our growth as a city also comes transportation.
Sure.
So I'm able to sit on boards and talk about those from the perspective of my firm. And then the other one is the world of arts and the world of youth, that mentorship that I'm able to do it on my own.
Right.
And fashion is just a common thread. Everyone has to get dressed.
Yeah, sure.
It's part of what the society is. And then being able to be a curator for my style seemed to be calling people in, things that I have learned, my ability to produce, my ability to draw, to create, to have call people. That's another level.
Yeah.
So out of all these foundations that I'm part of, and I've been blessed to be part of and help, and they have helped me to grow as well. The Scassi Museum of Contemporary Art, SMOCA, where we're sitting today, is the oldest one that I've been helping.
Okay.
I've been serving on the board for more than a decade, and I was brought here by a very good friend of mine, no longer with us, Janice Leonard, an interior designer, very, very forward-thinking, futuristic, incredible talent. She brought me here.
Okay.
And she said, I need you, we need you, Scassi needs your vision.
Yeah.
Come and join SMOCA board. And I did it.
That's awesome. What is infectious about you is your ability, where anybody attempting to do all the things that you do, to be associated with everyone and all the organizations that you belong to, you know, the common rhetoric would be careful, don't spread yourself too thin. But what I noticed, because we met after 8 p.m., you were coming from the gym, you know, I'd been up since 4 a.m., you know, the common thread I notice in individuals such as yourself is that if it's important, you make time. And to take it one step further, in making that time, you also ensure that you're able to be present.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of people that attempt to do what you're doing, right? But they're not present for any of that stuff, right? Their name is this, you know, they're on the signature line, but, you know, they're not, you're here, but you're not here.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I noticed in our initial interaction was how present you were. You know, like, this is the only time that we're going to get anytime soon. So if we're going to make the effort to make this happen, then I want to make sure that I'm present for this conversation.
Yeah. And to take that a little step further, it was me driving here. I just left a meeting and I said, I have to go. His time and the team time, who's behind cameras, is as important as my time. So when you place yourself at the same level and you vibrate at that level, you understand that no matter whoever is around you, must have your full attention if you're called to do something.
Mm-hmm.
You do it for your clients under a contract. You do it for your friends under the other contract, which is friendship.
Yep.
That doesn't have a black and white.
Mm-hmm.
You call people to be close to you, and then it's written somehow that you don't see, we cannot see. You have that respect, you have that time, you have that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So being present for me, thank you for pointing that out. It was very important because you see the face, you talk to the person, you have the ability to ask the questions and to be present. Like, I know you are very busy. Where's the book? I know you are very busy. This is a book. This man just wrote a book. I'm behind. I'm next. So, and I know you have clients. I know you have these incredible project coming up. Beginning of January for what I believe, or just around
the end of December,
the end of December.
Yep.
So happy holidays to all of us.
Yeah.
So, but it's like that's the energy, and then you have your wife, and then you have all these with you, and it's that energy. But you make sure that there is a presence of Michael.
Yeah,
he's there. You are there, and that is the same wavelength that I have. It's just I have to be able to tell my story, see you eye to eye presence, be present.
Yes.
And then if I cannot, you can put my name, but at some point I'm going to be shaking my hand, looking you in the eye, say like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling me, for being part of this. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to be here from the beginning of all this, but I'm here now.
Yeah, right.
Or from the ignition of whatever you want, or deployment of whatever you want to do, you are there present.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Where does because you're extremely confident, and you mention it in here with regards to what fashion does for you, going back to presence, right? In the Marine Corps, we called it command presence, how you stand, and the potential for energy in the room to change because you're in it. Yeah. Right. And in a conversation we had a couple of podcasts ago, we talked about giving people power, right? As you've climbed the ladder, so to speak, from graduate student intern to where you sit right now, there were plenty of opportunities along the way for you to meet people, and rather than and make a choice, right? Decide, in certain circumstances to either play it small and be the intern, or stand in your light, right? And be seen, right? Which, removes all the preconceived notions about where you're at present, and people see you for who you are aspiring to be and allow you to step into your potential, right? But again, going back to the whole energy thing, you have to be cognizant of that and step into it for that opportunity to present itself.
You just mentioned being present, give power, and stand under the light, or just pull back and stay away and let another person take the light. But coming from someone who was bullied as a kid and allow other people to take away from you all that opportunity for you to become someone better than where you are, or to block your process of becoming you, I can stand that. I guess that's where my energy comes from. Okay, that's when my stance, like, nope, not this time. Happened to me when I was a kid. Yeah, I was pushed, I was kicked, I was called names. Not this time. Not as an adult. Okay, that's what I'm standing in. Like many things that have happened in my life, including what happened to us, Gary and myself during our wedding, was that decision of these guys yelling at us all these ugly things from a balcony while we are getting wed. I'm exchanging vows with the man that I love. Get out of here. Oh, Michael, that's like another episode of his own. Another episode on his own. I am as an older, openly gay man or homosexual, just giving my vows to someone that I want to share the rest of my life with. And this man, yards, not even feet, like yards from us, is yelling all these ugly things that reminds me when I was a kid in school, and some little kid that didn't understand, or kids, a group of kids, didn't understand what respect means and acceptance means at that time. Now this man is doing it. At my age, I am not going to tolerate this. And I don't have to yell, scream, use guns, and violence, nothing. There are certain things in the community and in our society that must be respected. And that respect comes from you standing in front of that person and say, like, not today. Not today. That is when it comes what you have built through the years, what you have become. That's the security that I have. Of course, that comes from knowledge. When you are presenting something in the boardroom and you're like, I'm not prepared. So you want to stay away from the light. Or when you are in front of, like, I have met very powerful people at many levels, politicians, stars, and I just, sometimes Gary tells me, it's like, what? What are you doing? I said, like, well, that person who happens to be Lady Gaga is at the same level that I am. Even though she's a human, I just have to find that commonality. That level where we vibrate that we're human, and then I'm just have to tell this person, you know what? You own the light right now, but I have my own light too. I recognize that from you, but I thank you for being there. But sometimes it's your time to also take the stands and have your own light. You have created that through the years. As long as it's pure and you have conquered with all your soul and you have learned from your mistakes and all these things that we talked about all the time, is just like, you know what? This is my time. This is my time.
Do you remember the moment when you made that switch?
Yes.
When you said, not this time, not today?
Yes. It'll come at some point, and something that I'm writing. But, you know, like, we all go through summer. It's like, oh my God, it's so hot here. Oh my God, if this town I mean, we have to, it takes me 45 minutes to go from one side to the other. And oh my God, you know, all this negativity goes around you. I always wanted to get out of town and move away. I always thought, okay, I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to write my thesis, and then I'm going to go to Miami or to Florida where I have family. I dated someone long distance from who lived in Chicago. He was from Champaign, Illinois, and then he lived in Chicago. And then I was at some point thinking, I'm going to move to Chicago. I just want to get out of here. Then my visa process took too long. And then I had to wait until the paperwork was signed, was in, and it was ready. There was 5 years, and then another 5 years came through when finally it was approved and ready. Actually, before that, I realized if I'm going to stay here, if I have to stay here, I'm going to call this place home. And I'm going to do the best thing that I can do to bring here and be part of the community, bring here what I think is good for this town, and be part of the town. Be part of what this decision making. I'm just going to I'm going to put myself in a position that I can say on weekends, instead of watching TV, I'm just going to go out and help. I'm going to go out and be part of the community instead of going to a football game that is 4 hours that you're like cheering, whatever. Then I'm just going to go out, and then I'm going to knock on doors to the decision makers. Hey, by the way, we have this problem of homelessness at St. Vincent de Paul. Do you want to come and serve 2 hours for the homeless? Or we have some kids, LGBT kids, that are in problems. They cannot find a place to stay. Can you help us to put the beds together? Can you help us to bring water to the streets? Can you, would you mind helping us at the local library? That's what I put myself. I just decided, turn the TV off. Sorry, I did this. I should be doing this. Turn that TV off, and then open the door of my apartment at that time, and then find those outlets. And bring my talents and my passions to the community. I remember clearly. I cannot tell you the date. Perhaps if I go through my books and my journals, I can find the date. But that was a very decision-making point. The second one was when I met who today is my husband. I met him. We clicked. And then we had lunch together. I interviewed him, by the way, for the position. Yeah, if you're going to date someone, you better interview them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's a lifetime. I mean, it's your emotions. It's like you're going to the bank or you're hiring someone. Are you going to give your heart to someone just freely? No, you're like, okay, I want to know what you're bringing to the table. So I remember he knows this. We went out on a luncheon. We went for lunch, and we took 2 hours. Yeah. And then I interviewed him for the position. And I remember when we were having some sort of like emotional connection, and I said, just want to know something. I needed to take a decision at that time. The company that I was working for, at that time, the director, the principal, offered me to purchase the company. Or I had the second option, which was move to Florida. And there was a company in Florida that wanted to hire me. I have a cousin that lives in Orlando. Okay. And then she told me, if you come to Orlando, you move here with us for a while. And then, a house that I wanted to purchase was getting built. So I told him, I said, I want to know if you want to date me or we are going to be boyfriends or something is going to happen here because I have to make a decision. And then he said, yes, let's date. And I said, I'm going to take your word for it. You don't know the reason why right now, but let's date. And I decided to
he didn't know all that stuff was going on?
No, he didn't know. Okay. No, imagine you telling someone, by the way, I'm going to change my life because of you. You do that with a ring. It's like and then you go on your knee and then you ask, by the way, no. At that time, he didn't know anything. But it was just my decision because I found someone who I vibrated at the same level and I have emotional interest with. Sure. And I just said, this is the opportunity to ask the question. And I had to make a decision. And the decision came to be that I had to stay in town. And it's been 13 years, 12 years already.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
You mentioned journaling.
Yes.
I think it's an understatement to say how cathartic that process is. But I'm also a believer in terms of manifestation that if you don't write it down, it won't be real. And I just read a stat that if you have goals or a vision for yourself or a future, being at a certain level, if you will, by a certain date and time, if you write it down, it becomes 60% more likely to manifest for you. Why did you start journaling, and why did you continue to journal?
Part of all these will be also my career. Okay. I'm an architect by trade. I draft a lot. Common practice. And my early journals, and I wrote as well at some point. I love to write. I have little books with notes and sketches from my early days as an architect. But within them, there are thoughts about life. Yeah, within them. And then years later, when I moved down here, my dad, incredible executive for Pfizer International Company, he said to me, one-on-one, which was very, very rare, he told me that I needed to manage life as if it was a project. Okay. Your emotional life and your financial life. So within those two, you have to, is a prerequisite. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you do it. But to me, like you said, I have a vision, I have a schedule, and I have a budget. Once again, you have a dream, so you want to go to the Bahamas. Sorry, you guys are Bahamas going through a tough one right now, if you guys are watching right now. But I want to go to this trip. It's going to cost me so much, and it's within this time, and I want to do the following when I get there. So, life, I want to marry someone. We will have so much money for the ring and for the honeymoon or for the party, and it's going to be within whatever time is. So you can project yourself now, 5 years, 10 years, and it's important because you said it's cathartic. I went back to all these journals when I was cleaning the garage a few weeks ago. Typical, right? And I found them.
Yeah.
And then I could see my notes. What are my needs at that time?
Yeah.
And what was my projection at that time? I also have some slides. I was preparing a talk for my school about Phoenix and American modernism. So I went through the slides, but within the slides, there were early pictures of the place that I used to live at, my neighborhood, Phoenix, what is not today in downtown, which is you can look back and see how the progress had come to be.
Yeah.
And you can see that within yourself, within your own journal, because you're writing your thoughts, but also within those thoughts, you're seeing yourself in the future.
Sure.
So what it comes out of all that, schedule your future, analyze your future, find your north.
Yeah, that's incredible because anytime I come, and it's very rare that I go back and I read my stuff.
Why rare? I just want to know why rare. That's very weird because I don't do that as well. It's very rare.
Yeah.
We should do it more often.
We totally should.
Right?
Again, cleaning out the garage. I'm converting our garage into the new studio for the podcast.
Woohoo.
So while I was shuffling some things around, I found my box of old journals. I've been journaling since I was 16.
Oh, wow.
And so I started looking at, flipped open a couple of pages. And it's like, holy shit, that came through. That came true. Oh my God, I didn't know that I used to think that way. And it's just this reminder of not only your ability to manifest things, but also it gives you an appreciation for how you've evolved as a human being.
Was that okay? On your journal, did you have joining the Army,
the Marine Corps?
The Marine Corps?
No. So where I've fine-tuned my ability to manifest is in the details.
Oh.
Because when I was 16, if you had asked me where my life path was headed, I wanted to play Division I football. I wanted to graduate college, and I wanted to be an officer in the military.
Well, that's what I was saying. Right? You were Marine Corps.
So,
that's right. Oh my gosh.
And the way that manifested was a scholarship to the Air Force Academy. So it was all of it wrapped up in a bow.
Oh wow.
Right? And as everybody knows, I blew that opportunity, but it came back around. I finished my degree.
Yeah.
I played football.
Yeah. And
then I became an officer of Marines. Right.
So
the point of that is if your vision lacks detail, you're giving up the control of the picture. Right. So when you're journaling with intention, the vision of your future self, it's in your best interest to be as detailed as possible. Because you'll get what you want. It just might not look like what you thought it would.
Wow.
Pretty wild, right? But I mean, like that kind of thing
and very true.
Happens all the time.
And very true. And then that's what you go into detailing your future. It is just like making a decision without knowing where are you heading.
Right.
Because it's a vision. And perhaps you don't get there with all the specifics that you wrote, but it'll come around and it'll manifest itself somehow. Look where you are today.
Yeah.
Look where you are today. And more so, it's like, look where you are today. You have a podcast, a book, a lot of stuff, like interesting things coming up because you allow yourself to project forward, to think out of the box, to become part of a net too, because what you're doing here is also with this podcast on one-on-ones, you are creating a group of people that you are connecting already. So I'm sure you're going to go back to that group and spread some sort of message.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really interesting that you say that because I was doing some deep work with my coach yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and it came to me like where all of this has been building up, and I'll just go ahead and announce it now.
Yeah.
At the end of the year,
Yep.
I'm going to host the New Year's network, and I'm going to put 20 to 25 of you amazing people in the same room who have nothing to do with each other right now.
Yeah.
But in that room, some magic is going to happen.
So you are. I'm first of all, thank you, and because I don't know.
You're first. You're first. You're the first invitee.
Thank you so much. I was like,
Nicole will send you the save the date.
Thank you so much, because I've seen your podcasts and I know the people that you have brought into this light and to the camera and this conversation, and I know they are powerful people in terms of what they've been doing and they do for the community, but also what they decided to become or where they are, where life brought them to. So I'm very pleased, I'm very blessed to be part of those. And like I said, you are putting together, you are curating that group of people. And I can imagine what will come out of that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of light in that room. And I'm there and I'm happy. I can't imagine what is coming for that group.
It's going to be an experience, that's for sure.
Very good. I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah, it's important, regardless of what your medium for manifestation is, whether it's journaling or drawing or music or training or whatever the shows up for catharsis in your life. To be as detailed as possible works out in your best interest.
Always.
I think it's funny that we're having this conversation about detail with someone in fashion and architecture, where that is like the foundation of your entire professional existence is details. So no better person to bring that to light in conversation than with you. Where can my 20 percenters find you, support you, get in contact with you?
I happened to open at some point a blog that my husband he was the one who came with the name of it, is What Would Oscar Do?
Okay.
So it was, at the beginning, was just a journal about the world of fashion and things that I was doing around the world of fashion and the community at a large footprint of all that. But it slowly transformed into something else. So a lot of people, this is a joke at home, by the way, with my friends, and they know this. So because of my style, because the way that I dress, because I help some people doing styling, and I decided to, when I was a kid, I mean, you can find all the information on my blog, on my website, to draw from full houses and developments to the minimal detail of those, including what people should wear when it comes to style when you design something. Always been a question for me. It's like when I see a picture of a beautiful development or a hotel or a restaurant with no people, I always wonder, or a house, I was like, I wonder what those people living in there will look like. What the style, what do they eat, how do they celebrate, what do they do on those environments. So then the blog became, it's called What Would Oscar Do? Because my friends, when they want to make decision about fashion, about style, architecture, they always call me. I receive texts in the middle of the night. I have a meeting tomorrow. I don't know what to wear with this suit. What tie should I wear? Or the ladies, I just want to. I'm going to a gala or gala in downtown or whatever is it, and I just don't know what shoes will go with this dress. What kind of. Always, this is middle of the night.
Yeah.
Or I'm buying tile for my bathroom and I don't know how to detail the bottom. What can I do? So then Gary's like, oh my God. It's like people cannot live without knowing what would Oscar do. So every time you go to, I tell people, every time you go to your closet and think about what are you going to wear tomorrow or walk in somewhere, it's like, always ask yourself, what would Oscar do?
I will.
That's a joke. It was supposed to be a joke. So that blog has a lot of information of what I'm doing within the community, myself, with the world of fashion, where I'm going to be speaking. My God, I can't believe that I even have to announce those kind of things now. It's like, because what I mentioned to you from the beginning, and I think this is what Tammy Fellows, thank you so much, on Paradise Valley Lifestyle, the magazine. I happen to be on the cover. This is my second cover, my third cover in town of a magazine. So what happened with this is the cover. And that's what fashion is it communicates something. But once you peel that, there is a huge interest of the place that I live, my community, who I am as a person, and how my journey is being in a town where I just happened to land here.
Yeah.
There was no motive for me other than to come here and leave.
Right.
And I decided to stay and become part of it. And I think I've dig further and I became part of a town.
Yeah.
And I decided to move forward. So what you see with the clothes and the style and the look is part of who I am and always be like that. But there's more to it.
Yeah.
And that's my interest.
Sure.
When you walk in a room and you see someone, wow, that girl looks great, or that guy, look at what he's wearing. Look at and then you're like, hey, I love your jacket. Oh, thank you, I got it, so and so. So how are you doing today? That opens a conversation.
Sure. Yep.
And we also judge, quote unquote, calling judge. We always make an assumption of a person at a distance without talking to them of what are they wearing. What do they do for a living? How do they look life, their outlook in life, and what are they thinking about life?
Sure.
Always at a distance. You don't need to talk to anyone. You see someone dressed somewhere, it's like, oh my God, this seems to be a happy person, or that seems to be a person that doesn't speak, but fashion speaks for them. Always.
Okay.
Always. So I bet you I don't see you during the day like this because you have to go to with a jacket and trousers because you have to go train your all the people that you go to or your trainees. I mean, you can imagine you being on a suit and jacket and tie.
Yeah, not so much in the gym, but any place I have to be that's not CrossFit PHX.
Oh no! By the way, I've seen you and your wife. You guys are like
I gotta keep up, man.
Oh my God, your wife? Oh,
come
thank
on.
You, huh?
No.
Oh my God!
I'm not even trying to outdo her. I'm trying to keep up.
No, you guys are like beautiful. I mean, incredibly beautiful people on the outside, incredible on the inside too.
Man. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Kudos to you too.
I really appreciate that. I totally outkicked my coverage with Nicole.
Nicole is spectacular
amazing.
Inside and out.
Yeah, and she's got a couple of events coming up that she's setting up, and she's gonna knock them out of the park. They're gonna be absolutely beautiful.
I know.
And you're on the inside track on that as well.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Big time.
So. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today and have this amazing conversation. I know that my 20%ers out there are going to be forever enlightened because of it. And for everybody out there online and in the interweb, make sure you check out, ask yourself, what would Oscar do?
Whatwouldoscardo.com.
And, remember to focus on the things that matter: health, wealth, relationships, and time. We'll see you next week.